Good morning. Welcome to week 6 of the semester. I'm sorry I'm not able to be on Zoom today. I just wanted to provide you with a quick video instead that goes over all the information that I would typically go over in a Zoom session. If you have questions afterwards, please feel free to email me or make an appointment using the You Can Book Me link in any of my announcements or in your email. So essentially what you're going to be doing this week is working on the outline for your interview report, your career exploration report, and the thank you letter email. So you are not going to send the thank you letter email to your interviewee. You are going to put it in your shared Google Drive folder so that I can grade it. And we're going to go back and forth through several stages of revision until it's perfect, and then I will let you know when you can send it to your interviewee. But you are representatives of Delaware Tech, and it is very important that this letter be perfect. So that's the process. Please do not send your thank you email to the interviewee until you hear from me directly that it's ready to send. So that's what you're working on this week, is the thank you letter email and the outline for your final report. So I'm going to go over the resources for you today. I'm going to scoot the screen up so you guys can see my tabs because I have a ton of them open. We're just going to go right through and navigate through so that you can see all of the resources. So first what we're going to do is go into Unit 2. So Unit 2, Career Exploration Report, and then that takes you into this folder here where you'll see all of the resources available to you for this project. And there are a lot because there's a lot of different pieces. So today we're going to be focusing on the email, the thank you email materials. So I'm going to show you the sample thank you email. I'm going to show you the guidelines for the thank you email. I am not going to demonstrate for you what the PowerPoint does, but you're welcome to look at it yourself. It's got a lot of detailed information on it. So we're going to look at the guidelines in the sample, and then later we'll look at the outline sample as well. So the thank you email guidelines are available here for you, and then this includes everything that you need in order to complete that project. Make sure that you're meeting these format requirements. You are going to be typing this in Google Drive or in Microsoft Word. You're not going to be typing it in your email program yet. So just at the top, include whatever your subject line would be. You're not actually going to put it in an email, so there isn't an actual subject line. But I want you to write subject line and then tell me what your subject line is going to be, because that is also part of your grade as to whether you have an appropriate subject line or not. It's not going to be sent as an attachment. You will actually type this directly into your email program when it's ready to go. You're going to use block format. It does need to have a formal letter salutation, which includes the word dear, the person's last name, followed by a colon. So that's the 2 dots, and I'll show you what that looks like in the sample. It's short, so it should fit on one screen. You shouldn't need to scroll up or down, but it should be 3 paragraphs in length. And I'll show you what is included in those paragraphs in a minute. And you do need to have a complimentary closing. You can use sincerely or regards. Any of those are appropriate, and then you're going to sign it with both your first and your last name. Now, this one you actually are able to use second person point of view. It's probably the only assignment in any of English 101 or 102 where you can use you and your, because you're talking directly to your interviewee. So second person point of view is appropriate. This is essentially the 3 paragraphs. So in your first paragraph, you're going to express your appreciation for the time that your interviewee gave you and for the information that they shared. Then in the main body paragraph of your thank you email, you're going to discuss 3 specific areas in the interview that you found useful or valuable or interesting. Make sure that you're using specific details. Don't be too general. This paragraph should be 4 sentences in length, and then the last paragraph can be just one single sentence, but you should be reiterating the fact that you're thanking them for their time and for the interview. So again, this is essentially the same thing under content and structure. So your introduction should include the one sentence. The body should be 4 sentences in length, including 3 areas of interest, and the conclusion should be can be 1 sentence, and it should thank the person again. So this is what that looks like in practice. Okay, now obviously this is a screenshot of an actual email program. So this is the subject line. You are not typing this in your email program. Remember, you're putting it in a Google Drive doc or you're putting it in Microsoft Word. But just type at the top what your subject line will be. And then we'll edit and revise in Google or in Word before you copy this into your email. When you do send it, you are going to send it directly to the person that you interviewed, and you're going to copy me so that I get a copy of that email saying that it's been sent. That's the final piece of this assignment. But again, not until I've commented on your draft saying that it's ready to go and to be sent. So you have Dear Mr. Garcia. So this is the format that you'll be using for your formal thank you letter salutation. And you're going to use a colon, not a comma, not a semicolon, but a colon. Then we have the first paragraph, the introduction. This is essentially including the date and time of the interview and saying basically thank you for the time. Then we have a lengthier paragraph for the body, listing out 3 specific areas from the interview that you felt were valuable and that you appreciate, and a final sentence, again, thanking them for their time, and then sincerely, complimentary closing, your full name. Please do not include like a quote or a picture or anything else in your closing other than just the basics. So this is the format of the thank you letter, and pay attention to grammar and spelling and sentence structure. We're working through grammar units here in English 102, so I'm going to be looking specifically for whether or not you're using those grammar rules appropriately in your writing. And the rubric for this assignment does include grammar points for grammar, so be as careful as you can be, and then I'll be leaving you feedback in your shared Google Drive folder. So you'll just put this right in the Unit 2 folder in your shared Google Drive folder. It's due this Sunday night by 11:30. And then the other piece is the outline for your career exploration report. Now, in this outline, you're going to be essentially including all of the information that you got from the interview, and you're organizing it into your outline. So you're going to include a introduction that's been written out in full sentences in a complete paragraph. Explain the background of your interviewee and explain your additional source. For many of you, that's going to be the Bureau of Labor Statistics. For those of you in the learning community, it's going to be an additional different written source, but you need to include the name of that source and sort of, what information you got from that. So this is the introduction sentence or introduction paragraph that should end with a report plan sentence. If you take a look carefully at the last sentence of this introduction paragraph, you'll see that it lists out in the right order. These are the elements that will be discussed in this report. So make sure that you're listing your category titles in your report plan sentence. And then make sure that in your outline, you're matching the order of these things, right? So in this case, they're saying that they're going to talk first about educational requirements, then job duties and advantages and disadvantages. And you can see that the elements of their outline match that report plan sentence. Your final report will also have to match your report plan sentence. So you'll notice a few things about the outline. First of all, you do have a completely written out introduction and a completely written out conclusion. That gives me an opportunity to do a little bit of grammar feedback for you and help you make sure that those 2 elements of your report are absolutely perfect before you submit your final draft. The more information you put in the outline, the better. I don't necessarily recommend using complete sentences, but definitely use actual data. So this is not just this isn't just saying that that the salary is different in different areas or whatever. Like, don't be general or vague. Use actual information that you're getting from both your written source and your interview. I also encourage you to include references and the references part is required. The citations part is encouraged. I encourage you to try out these citations in your outline because that gives me a chance at the pre-writing stage to make a comment and tell you how to correct your citations if they're not already correct. So you'll see in this case, this is the interview citation. This is what it's going to look like. The first initial last name, comma, the words personal communication, comma, and then the full date of your interview. That's how you cite your interview in the report. And then for your written source, depending on what that is, if you're using the Bureau of Labor Statistics, this is what those citations are going to look like. And this, I'll show you why this is 219A and this is 219B, and there's also a 219C. When we get to the references page, you'll understand why that is. But if you're only using one written source, you'll want to include that citation here as well. Again, so that I have an opportunity to take a look at it before you submit. I was just checking my time. I'm close to my time. So include actual information, include citations where appropriate so that I can check them, include a written out conclusion that reflects on the process. Your conclusion of the interview report should talk about whether this was a valuable experience for you and what you got out of it. This career exploration outline should also be saved in your shared Google Drive folder. If you look in the folder itself, there is a blank planner right here that you can fill out. Just type right on this document. Include the purpose statement, include information from the primary and the secondary source, and then include your preview or report plan sentence right here. If you want, you can take this out and write that paragraph right here, or you can fill this information out and then write the paragraph. It's up to you. But don't forget to include the section headers for each component of your report, and don't forget to include the references page at the end. So this one is a little bit, the format is a little bit wonky, but you'll see that there's a references page here. This is why we have a 219A, B, and C, because all three of these sources they all start with Bureau of Labor Statistics. So there's no way to differentiate except with the date, because they're all from the same source in the same year. So if you are not using Bureau of Labor Statistics, you'll have a different citation. If you are using Bureau of Labor Statistics, this is a great model for what your citation or what your references and citations should look like. So this is what the actual report is going to end up looking like. Remember that there's a sample in the paper. You can see that there are citations scattered throughout. You're writing out with section headers each one of those components, and then you're going to have a conclusion at the end with a reflection and then your references page. The last thing that I want to mention before I run out of time on this recording is that we are also working this week through Unit 2 Grammar, Sentence Patterns, and Faults. So review this particular PowerPoint, Sentence Patterns and Faults, and then down here under Additional Grammar Resources for Unit 2, there are a lot of Sentence Patterns and Faults videos and resources and practices. But this is one of the biggest errors that students face. So I absolutely encourage you to take your time, devote some time to doing this. If you have a friend who's also taking this class, work on it together, do some practices. Email me if you have questions. So email me actually if you have questions with anything, with the thank you letter, email, the career exploration report outline, or any of the grammar units. Good luck, have fun. I look forward to talking to you guys next week, and thank you so much. Have a great day.